Hiya folks, I'm Grim, and welcome to Grim Grooves. Today we'll be checking out the Hod Battle theme, or all three Hod Battle themes from Library of Ruina. I can't wait to check this out. Every single one of these boss battle themes that I've heard from this game have just been all so unique and so interesting, and I'm sure this will be no different. If you'd like to request anything specific, you can request it on my Patreon. I've also got other stuff over there from Project Moon's games, all types of melee songs and stuff. And you can also hit the like button and subscribe because it helps the channel immensely and I can continue making more content like this if it shows that you guys are enjoying it. So, without further ado, let's check out Hod Battle Theme, Part 1. Nice. Did I see this one already? I had to pause for a second to make sure I haven't heard this before because it sounds so familiar. It's because it's the Kether theme, or it feels like the Kether theme, except it's a little bit more jazzy. It's fantastic. It's like a soft jazz rendition of the Kether battle theme. This like soft jazzy rendition of this song. Like, it sounded so familiar at first. Like I said, I was convinced I may have heard this before because the melody just seems so familiar, but then I just went through my videos and I was like, oh yeah, it's the Kether theme, that's what it comes from. But it's really interesting that this is such a different version of it. Like, and the music's obviously, the melodies are very similar, but the way that they're produced is much different. And again, this feels like just a lo-fi jazz rendition of that song almost, and it works really well here. It just sounds fantastic. That was cool though. Like the bassy synth melody that was like driving through that whole section was fantastic, and of course all the individual melodies are just as good as they were in the Kether theme. Like, but I'm curious to see what this next one will be because I'm guessing it'll be something completely different. But this was just a fantastic rendition of like the other battle theme essentially, and I wonder if I'm sure there's some kind of lore reason for that, like some kind of connection between Hod and the Kether floor that I don't know about. But anyways, this is really cool though. Piano. This is some fantastic piano playing. Like, it's so frantic and fast-paced and crazy, but it works so well here. Like, it's so intense, and then there's the kind of synth melody underneath of it, and the way that they modify the piano somewhat, a little bit, like, mechanically. There's a few moments where it kind of gets a bit distorted, a little bit off, but it's working into it really well, and it sounds incredible. Like, I always love a good, fast-paced, crazy piano melody like this, especially if it's got a little bit of intricacy to it, and this one certainly does. But this is fantastic already. I love how they're using the percussion as like beats to switch up the melody almost. Like you hear the percussion boom and then the piano melody kind of shifts up subtly. Like you can hear it if I go back about 15 seconds. It happened like twice here where the percussion hit and then the piano melody changed a little bit. And there was also like a little bit of a background synth melody driving through this a little bit too. I don't think this section necessarily, I think it just ended, but it's also just interesting new additions on top of everything else, and the percussion's also building up really nicely here. And there's the synth. Such excellent piano melodies here, like like it flows really nicely, and it's a very catchy. And I could see this being like just a fantastic theme for the boss battle, at least this section of the battle. It's like it's not too intense, but it's definitely a lot more rapid and fast paced. Like the beginning song was very chill, like mellow, lo-fi jazz track kind of thing. This is like a lot more intense piano, but it's still not crazy intense. I'm sure part 3 will get a lot more intense, but anyways, I guess let's build into that from the end of 2. It's almost like all the layers from both of the other parts of this song have now come together, and it's all just kind of a cacophony of dissonant noises. And it works really well, though, the different layers, because it's almost like freeform jazzy style of this. Like the piano is still there and still fantastic. The different synth melodies layered on top of each other are also really incredible. Like, and there's just so much that it's just almost overwhelming at times. All the different melodies, all the different instruments playing at once. Like I think I heard a accordion in there at one point. Like there's a bunch of different elements just coalescing together, and it's really interesting. The piano is so good here, like so many different fantastic piano melodies, and with the like violin melody behind that and everything else, like the different string melodies, the different synth melodies, like there's so much to this, but it definitely feels a lot more intense, a lot more frantic than the other ones have. It's really interesting, like the way that they've composed this, just with so many different dissonant elements to it, and the way that the piano melody like kind of cascades and things like that. Like there's just so many different interesting parts to this, and just keeps going. It's really cool. that part is what I mean when I say like cascading, like the bump, 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 and it's like going down in register with each individual note, like almost like a cascade. Like it's really interesting, and I love how they do that. And a little bit of a synth, like bassy kind of synth melody behind that worked really well too. Like again, so many different interesting layered melodies that work just really, really well together. We'll get to that the next time. But yeah, that was a really, really interesting melody there. Like, I'd say of the three, the third one, the third section is probably my favorite. Although they've all been fantastic. Like the first one being like a remixed version of the Kether theme worked really, really well. But then you get into the middle section, it's just crazy piano melodies, which just were all just fantastic. Like of the three, I'd say probably the third one is my favorite. The second was my second favorite, and the beginning, only because it's a rehash of something we've heard before, is kind of my least favorite of these three. Although it is a really good version. Like they're all good songs, but of the three, it's like finding the best of the best or whatever. And I guess for me, just how interesting the third one was, it drew my attention a lot more because there was just so much variety to it and so many different styles of music kind of flowing into each other. Like again, a little bit disjointed, a little bit out of left field, I guess you could say. Just so weird and different, but I love weird and different. So it was really cool just how they were able to layer so many different elements on top of each other and make interesting harmonies using all these different elements while still keeping it frantic and unruly and crazy and kind of just unique. Like again, they could have just did like a little bit crazier piano melody and maybe mixed in a couple other elements, but they were like, now we're gonna add in every instrument we have. Like get the accordion in there, get the violin in there, get like the organ in there. Like there was just so many different elements that just kind of like flowed into this section, and it worked really well in my opinion. Like it's really interesting, and I'm guessing that it probably makes even more sense when you see the boss or get to experience the boss fight and the different like elements of that boss fight. It probably makes more sense like why they did it in this style, but it works really well. And again, I can't wait to play the game to get to experience all this myself, because this is absolutely insane. It was a fantastic version, a fantastic battle theme overall. Like all the different phases were really unique. Well, I guess the Kether one is not necessarily the most unique, but it was definitely an interesting version, and I love the soft jazz vibe of it. But anyways, thanks for hanging out watching my reaction. If you liked it, make sure you hit the like button and subscribe. Until next time, later days, folks.